Hello, Trucking Office Live. We're doing a live stream today in our series about how to run a better trucking business. So, what we're doing here is every day we'll log in, we'll use the Trucking Office system as if we're running a real trucking company. We'll just put in some fake loads, we'll do some invoicing, we'll do some expenses, and you'll get to see on a daily basis how Trucking Office software is going to make your life much simpler. Uh, all of us truckers have a bad reputation for hating the paperwork. There's pictures all over the internet of guys keeping all the receipts in shoe boxes and paperwork's everywhere, and it's a lot of commotion, especially us owner operators and fleet builders. One of the biggest differences between businesses that make it and businesses that don't make it is the systems they use. If you have a method and a system to keep track of everything and keep everything organized, it's going to make your life way easier, save you lots of time, and save you lots of stress and headaches. So let's take a look at it. Do a screen share like that, and then we can take a look at our system and see where we're at for today. So we have an ongoing trucking business here. We have a couple of trucks on the road. We sent one truck out from Ohio out to California. So that one is just in transit. We can see our status is right over here. So that one is in transit. Expected delivery is on November 2nd, which would be Monday. So we don't need to do anything with him for today. And then this load that was dispatched yesterday did 2 pickups, one in Canton, one in Cleveland, and then is delivered in Chicago today. So this one is highlighted in green because the delivery was for today. So it's highlighted in green. And so it's in the afternoon now. And so we're just going to say we checked in with that driver and he's all delivered. So from there, now the next thing he's going to need to do then is get a load, right? So if he delivered in Chicago this morning, he needs a load out of Chicago. So let's just say that we booked him a load from Chicago back to Akron, Ohio. And we'll go back to our load planner and we'll just enter that in. And then the customer, we don't have this is a new broker maybe that we got set up with today. We'll call it, we'll just call it XYZ Brokerage. Okay, now you can put in all these details, but the minimum that you need is the city and state. We're going to say the broker is out of Chicago, Illinois, just because that's where our truck is. You can put in, their email for the broker could go in right here, and different things can go in these spaces. But for now, I'm just going to put in their name and their city and state, and we're going to save it. And then what that does is that automatically fills it in then for my customer. So what I've done there is this is normally a search box where you would search for your customers that are in your address book. But we decided this one was one we never used before, so we just clicked on create one, and this created this entry into the address book. So now anytime we need to use this broker again, we'll just pull it up. We won't ever have to enter it again. Now, of course, you can edit that and add details to it later, but for now, we're just going to keep moving through here. And I'll show you how that works, because we could say we're picking up at that place too, like maybe they have a yard or something like that, maybe they have a yard that has freight sitting in it or whatever. So we'll just say we're picking up at XYZ Brokerage in Chicago, Illinois. We'll say we're picking that up today on the 28th. Got bill of lading number. Make up a number here for a bill of lading. Make up a weight. Well, we'll just say 45,000. And then that's good enough for details for right now. And then the consignee that it would be going to, we'll say it's coming back to shipper A in Akron, Ohio. And then that's pretty much an overnight trip, so we'll say we'll deliver that tomorrow. Yep, let's go for delivery tomorrow. Delivery instructions are first come, first serve. That was just in my auto completer there. And then there we go. That's what we need. And then we need to know a rate. How much do we make going from Chicago out to Akron, Ohio? Now, I'm from this region, so I just know that that's a little less than 400 miles, or thereabouts. So I'm just going to say that's about $800. Well, let's say 900. I don't know, 900. And we'll put it in as a flat fee. And then we'll put in an additional 20% for a fuel surcharge. Now, obviously, I'm just making numbers up, but just showing you how the system works. Whether you're hauling for a direct shipper, sometimes you're hauling for a broker, they just don't break out a fuel surcharge. They put everything in as a flat fee. That's fine. You can just leave the fuel surcharge blank. I'm just kind of demonstrating how it works. Over here is a place for accessorial fees. If you need to bill anything extra for like tarping or a lumper fee or detention or just anything additional, you can just put that over here. And if you take an invoice advance, you can put that over here. So then I'm just going to save that information. Then when you save that information, it doesn't do any calculations or anything like that. It just saves what you entered in. Now we've put in enough information there to assign it to a trip. So what we're going to do is go back here to trips real quick, and we're going to say this driver, Jim Smith in truck 2, went from Canton to Chicago. So then we're going to add a trip, and we're going to assign that load that we just put in for Mr. Smith. John Smith in truck 2. His last location is Chicago, Illinois. The system already knows that, so it'll pick up the empty miles from the last trip he was on over to this trip. Here's the load we put in from XYZ Brokerage, right, from Chicago back to Akron. So we need to check that one. If we had more loads in the load planner, they would all show up here. But this is the only one in there, so that's the load we're going to use. And then we could enter in fuel expenses and truck expenses and whatnot, but we're not doing that right now. Right now, we're just dispatching the load. So as soon as we hit save here, that will generate the trip. And when we generate the trip, that's when the system's really doing some stuff, because it's running the miles on PC Miler. It's doing all the calculations. You know, you have your revenue, so it's adding up the fuel surcharge, the profit, the revenues per mile, things like this. We didn't enter in any expenses yet, so we know those numbers won't be accurate, but as we enter more expenses, those will get updated. It also calculates what the driver's pay is. In this case, the driver's getting paid on a loaded mile, 45 cents a mile. I don't know how many of you guys get paid 45 cents a mile, but we'll just putting some fake numbers in here. So it'll show the driver's pay for this trip to haul this load. Here's the load information again, where it picked up, where it delivered to, total charge. This is the amount that'll be invoiced later. And then here are the miles broken down by state. These will be used in mileage calculations later, IFTA reports, all that stuff. As soon as we save this trip, all that stuff is automatically updated. Okay, so we'll go back up to the top. We'll come up to the trips list, and then we'll see that that new trip just showed up right here as to deliver tomorrow on the 29th. John Smith from Chicago to Akron, and then tomorrow they'll be delivering in Akron. Okay, so that's how we do that. It's pretty easy, and that's all it takes to enter that in there. Now, I do recommend that you put the information in right as soon as you book the load, and then you'll be able to get status updates as things go along, and then when the load delivers, you'll be ready to invoice it, and it just keeps everything on track, and it keeps everybody on the same page. A lot of owner-operators, sometimes what they do is maybe one person is at home. Sometimes I've had some friends that their wife works from home and looks at the load boards and helps them find the load or get things lined up or helps with the paperwork. And then the husband is maybe out there at the mill or at the warehouse picking up or delivering or whatnot. And sometimes it's a team effort. And in those kind of situations, this is a really good tool to keep everybody on the same page. Or if you're doing everything by yourself, that's fine too. I have some friends that do things that way too. Maybe they're in the sleeper berth and, you know, you got the laptop out there and you're getting on the load boards and doing things the same way, booking loads. Just go ahead and enter it in the system right then and there. As soon as we do what we just did there and enter the load and then create the trip, that automatically gets dispatched to the ELD mobile app too. So if you're using both, you know, the TMS and our ELD is custom built to just for this software. So obviously it does all the compliance regulation stuff, no problem. But then it also helps with all of the load tracking and, you know, invoicing and all of those kind of things. So when we look at loads, we see that we have this one was dispatched, but it's already delivered. This one is dispatched and this one is in transit. We get this in-transit update when the driver marks it as loaded in the ELD app. Okay, so that one's already ready to go. Now this one that was delivered this morning, we can go ahead and pull that one up and view it just like this. And then when we're ready to make the invoice, we just create the invoice. When we click that, it auto-generates the invoice number. Today is the invoice date. We have the remit to. If we were using a remit to like a factoring company or something like that, this would go here. But in this case, we're not going to. We're just going to keep it simple. And we're just going to create the invoice for that one load. And we'll go ahead and create the invoice. And then there it is. It's done. This is what all the invoice information. If you want to see what it looks like, we have two different PDF formats. We have a simple PDF, which actually opens in a new tab. So you probably won't, you won't be able to see it in our stream because it opened in a new tab. And so there's two different PDF formats. Maybe tomorrow I'll show that I'll set this up differently so we can demonstrate what the PDF looks like. But we're only looking at this one tab for today. And so, but anyways, that's all it takes to make the invoice. Now, when you go back to invoices, you'll be able to see your list of invoices, and you'll be able to see this one that we just created on the 28th. And then when it gets paid, we'll be able to enter the payment and mark it off paid. But right now it's going to be a pending invoice. Okay. And then we go back to our list of loads. We can see that this one's in transit, this one's dispatched, and this one's invoiced. Okay. So we have a couple of loads going on now. So every day what we'll do is we'll just check in here and we'll see what's going on with our drivers. We'll do some updates. And if you guys come across this video, help me out a little bit by giving it a like, ask me some questions. If you go into the comments on whether you're seeing this on YouTube or someplace else, just go in the comments of the video, ask whatever questions you have about the software. And the next day when I do our updates, we can take a look at some different things. Okay. So let's go ahead and look at the company overview report. This company we have just started. We haven't been doing anything actively throughout the year. And what this represents is year to date, January 20th till now, which is October. And so this is where we're running at for October. Okay. This is showing your profits versus expenses on the graph. And then when you look at your numbers, you have your revenue and expenses and profit. Basic P&L information, but then we break everything down by mile for you too, so you understand what your stats are and how they change month over month, year over year. You can look at things a lot of different ways with this report. So we're showing the total miles we've driven for the month, miles per load. This is like an average, revenue per mile, revenue per loaded mile, expenses per mile, expenses per loaded mile, and then profit per mile, which is really the main number that matters, right? So there's a lot of guys out there that will talk about, how to get the best revenue and work the load boards and work the spot market. And there's a lot of different strategies to deploy, but no matter which strategy you're using, no matter what kind of trailer you're running, you're going to the idea is to get the most revenue you can and the least amount of expenses you can. So the two ways to improve profit is to either get more revenue or spend less money on expenses. Either one or both will improve your profits. And so when you're using this tool to manage your business, you can easily see how those numbers are affecting the bottom line. So this is a pretty handy report to look at on a regular basis. So for those reasons, Trucking Office is a really handy tool to use. And so I'm just going to do a quick live stream every day, and we'll keep updating our trucking business every day. And then maybe we'll take a look at some of these other reports on the next stream. So check back in with us, follow us on the live streams, and ask your questions on there. Also, I'd like to wanted to tell you about our free trial that we offer. If you're not using our software yet, then sign up for the free trial. We have a really, truly no hassle trial where you just sign up for it. All we need is your email, your name of your business, and then you'll get full access to the full version of the software. You'll get an email series with training videos in the emails. So you'll get a complete training series. You'll get a series from me where I talk about different phases of business management in the trucking business. and a little bit of the backstories about how we created what we created and stuff like that. So sign up for the free trial. When you sign up for the free trial, you'll also get a special offer when you're ready to subscribe. But the free trial is real simple. We don't ask for a credit card or anything. Just go to truckingoffice.com. There's a button right at the top for get your free trial, and give it a try. All right. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Thanks.